Welcome to the Asset Revolution podcast, where each week your hosts from Arbor Digital provide educational opportunities for financial advisors and individual investors to gain knowledge in this emerging powerhouse that is digital asset investing. The Asset Revolution podcast is your connection to the future of digital assets and an opportunity for anyone to get off zero. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here for another edition of the Asset Revolution podcast. I am very excited for our guest today, who comes from Flourish Crypto, Ben. And actually, make sure, I don't want to butcher your last name. So how do you pronounce your last name?
My name is Ben Cruikshank. Replace the U and the I with two O's and you'll get there. Scottish last name. The most famous Cruikshank is Cruikshank's the cat in Harry Potter, if any of you are fans. So easy way to remember it.
There you go. Well, we are definitely big HP fans. So you're going to connect with a lot of people, I assume, listening. But thank you. So Ben, thank you so much for joining. I'm very excited to jump in with you today. We're here to talk about kind of the offer you have for other advisors across the country, and dive into a little bit about digital assets, blockchain technology, kind of why even the offer came to existence, especially from a firm like, that's connected to such an esteemed and, probably a lot of people say conservative firm like Mass Mutual. So I'm excited to get into that. But before that, please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, let the audience know a little bit about yourself.
Sure, and again, thanks for having me. Really excited to chat today, and excited to keep spreading the word of what we're doing and connect with others who are trying to further pursuit of growing digital assets within the advisory community. So I mentioned a moment ago, my name is Ben Cruikshank, and I'm the head of Flourish. I think my story starts when I was a little kid. My dad handed me a book on personal finance written by Andrew Tobias when I was 10 or 11. And for whatever reason, that clicked in my head, and I became a huge personal finance nerd for years and years. Actually, less focused on the investing side of things and much more focused on, again, that personal finance 101, blocking and tackling, a lot of what advisors help their clients with. I became probably the informal advisor to my friends and my family, which continues to this day. I found myself working at a New York City-based marketing technology startup. I was employee number 15 and was fortunate to stay on board until we crossed well over 200 employees. So got the startup bug right out of college, and just fell in love with building, creating, moving things forward. I then had the opportunity to move to Betterment, the leading independent robo-advisor.
Oh, yeah.
And I helped launch their 401k offering. So take a robo-advisor, package it up, sell it to companies and plan sponsors as a 401k offering. And that really brought together my personal passion for personal finance with my professional interest in startups, and haven't looked back since. So joined Flourish 3 or 4 years ago. And it's been an amazing ride ever since. And that's a little bit about me.
Wow. Okay. So I really like this because most of the guests we've had on have either had in very diverse backgrounds, but you're kind of the first guest too that has more of that fintech or wealth tech type of background. So you've seen a lot, especially in that emergence of finance and technology, and then having that passion for that personal finance side of it from such a young age. So tell us a little bit more then about Flourish. What is it? Why did you join them? Why did you take the leap to what they're doing?
Sure. Flourish, maybe I'll go really broad. Our mission at Flourish is to provide advisors with innovative access to financial products that help them secure their clients' financial futures. And again, for me personally, it was this belief in personal finance, this belief in fiduciary advice, the belief that well-disciplined, good investing practices, the right advice can truly make a difference in people's lives. Again, born out of my own very personal experience here. We often refer to ourselves and think of ourselves as something of a complementary custodian. We're defining one of the few companies helping to define this category, which really sits at the intersection of financial products and technology, and doing that specifically for advisors. So our focus is really on taking valuable financial products that otherwise aren't easily accessible to financial advisors,
Hmm.
whether they're blocked by regulation or technology or operational issues. Take those financial products that would be valuable to financial advisors and figure out a way to make them work very specifically for the RIA ecosystem. And that's really us in a nutshell. Where we started, we launched a product called Flourish Cash back in 2018. Flourish Cash is a cash management solution built for advisors to help their clients with held away cash. So if you think of a typical advisor, maybe they're managing $1 million portfolio. That same client with $1 million with the advisor tends to have maybe $100,000 sitting at Bank of America earning 1 basis point
Hmm.
out of view of the advisor, and where over time that bank as an institution is often thinking, how do I deepen my relationships, how do I sell my banking services, my advisory services?
Hmm.
And us as huge believers in the power of financial advisors wanted to build a product that could bring a huge part of clients' financial wealth into the oversight and visibility and care of the financial advisor. And that's really what Flourish Cash does. So, cash management solution, really a savings account like replacement product for end clients. But for the financial advisor, it's a way to incorporate assets into their view, to integrate it, pull it into their reporting and their planning software, to have a real value add offering to help their clients earn a little bit more, keep their cash FDIC insured, things like that. So launched that product back in 2018, and it was, I think really found product market fit on that. It was a fantastic first product for us. Built relationships with hundreds of RIAs, really became experts on kind of regulatory compliance landscape that we find ourselves in. Flourish Cash is offered by a FINRA member broker dealer, so dealing with SEC and FINRA audits and kind of all kinds of monthly reporting and Big Four auditors, and really moving billions of dollars around and doing that simply, securely, compliantly, never misplacing a dollar. Amazing client experience through and through. And
Hmm.
so that was really our genesis, our intro, our first product within the RIA community. Throughout that journey, we always knew Flourish Cash would not be our last product, and we were always in very constant dialogue with these hundreds of firms about what other challenges they were facing, what other types of similar products, where they're products that you don't have easy access to today. Because if you don't have access to the product, you can't incorporate it within your own fiduciary advice.
Hmm.
And I mean, really starting 2019, so very, very soon after the launch of Flourish Cash, I would say crypto really started creeping onto our radar as a potentially very, very interesting area of opportunity for RIAs and for ourselves. That really picked up into a drumbeat through 2020 and early last year, early 2021, and really brought crypto to the forefront of our team, which, by the way, is composed of lots of a very technology heavy organization, let's put it. So a lot of people who are
Yeah.
also in their free time dabbling in crypto were from people who are well down the rabbit hole to people who just have a passing interest, and it comes up with topics and friends, and realized that was a great opportunity for us to really help the firms that we work with help their clients.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting starting point. Um, the firms that we worked with came to us for cash management. They are not crypto first firms. They are not crypto adopters by any means. But again, kept asking them, what are you doing about crypto? How are you viewing this asset class? What are you offering your clients? And consistently, we'd hear that advisors had really felt like they had three flawed options. They could do nothing, which might have been really easy in 2016, 2017, is much, much harder today with just how much crypto has grown, how it's evolved into this multi-trillion-dollar asset class and in the news every day. So that was option one, do nothing. Option number two, send clients away directly to a retail exchange.
Hmm.
Again, that might have made sense a couple of years ago. Now I think advisors are truly looking at assets leaving their book, you know, lack of opportunity of building relationships with next gen clients. Like that is an existential threat to them over the long run. So that becomes a less appealing option. And then third, we saw that advisors had one of a few, could offer very complicated financial products. Those products, private trusts or private funds or OTC traded trusts, might be appropriate for some clients, but it was so striking to us the difference between a client going to Coinbase and opening an account and putting $100 versus this complicated financial product, this 30-page subscription document, this thing
Hmm.
that trades at premiums and discounts to NAV. It was one of the first times where the product available to the advisor was far worse than the product available to the retail investor.
Yep.
And really, that's what we decided to try to help change by building a almost a retail-like product, a direct ownership solution for advisors. And really that's what brought us all the way to where we are today, which is the launch of Flourish Crypto.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to hear the story and the genesis of Flourish, and specifically the crypto offering. And it seems like we're aligned actually in how Arbor Digital came to existence as well. We saw the same things, and we're like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something that we can actually provide. We can have for ourselves to provide a better solution. And it all started. You said the word fiduciary standard, right? And it all started there for us, right? When we see that there is just such huge gaps within the industry, especially for an offering. And we started to hear about it. When clients are going and doing it on their own and not necessarily, having the knowledge or the education base to do it in a safe and secure way, not even to mention the other safety and security aspects like, two-factor authentication, knowing how to set that up properly, or setting up your network security, those types of things. And it's hard if you're a financial advisor really living and breathing that fiduciary duty and providing guidance to clients, whether you believe in it or not, doesn't really matter. The fact is the clients were doing it, and you'd actually need to at least be able to, have your own fundamental knowledge. So I think we are born out of the same notice of the gap that existed. And so that's where I'm excited that there are these gaps being filled. And while Arbor Digital has its own, product and service, I think there's going to be room for everyone, right?
Yep.
And then we're going to need all these different solutions. But I think one thing that may help too is Mass Mutual. So Flourish is owned by Mass Mutual. Am I correct in that?
We joined Mass Mutual in February of last year, so just under about a year old at this point, that relationship.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about that. Like because again, a lot of professionals who may be listening to this may be thinking Mass Mutual insurance company, pretty conservative side. What made them feel the need to say, hey, yeah, this is going to be something real? Like what were those conversations like with them?
Yeah, there's really a couple of different sides to that story. The first thing I'd actually emphasize is we are a highly independent standalone entity within Mass Mutual.
Okay.
We're wholly owned. We are Mass Mutual employees. We're definitely part of the mothership, so to speak. But our mandate when we joined is to continue building in products really for the independent RIA community to we had already worked with hundreds of firms when we got over the fence. Mass Mutual has a large, very well, resource wealth management business and arm of their own, but they too recognize kind of the importance of particularly the independent RIA space. And so our mandate has really been to stay independent ourselves, stay standalone ourselves, and laser focus on the needs of this community. So in some levels, we've always set our own roadmap. When Mass Mutual acquired us, we came to them and we said, "Hey, we're planning on doing something in crypto, as our next big act." And actually, I would say they were extremely excited because it
Yeah.
dovetailed with actually quite a lot of what Mass Mutual is working on themselves. Um, Mass Mutual, I think, is and here we won't go on a wild tangent on Mass Mutual, but Mass Mutual truly is one of the most innovative of the larger insurance companies. They've been investing heavily, incredibly heavily for the past decade, 1 to 2 decades, in their own digital offerings and their own products and services there, really in a way that has leapfrogged, I think, many of the other leading insurers. Alongside that, Mass Mutual has actually long had an interest in blockchain. Mass Mutual famously in December of 2020 invested $100 million into Bitcoin and then actually publicly talked about it, why it was an appropriate allocation for their general account, which is an amazing thing for an insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
They're actively monitoring, developments in blockchain and ways smart contracts could potentially find their way into the insurance industry, ways different payment rails could find their way into the insurance industry, and they're always trying to keep abreast of kind of cutting edge trends and developments. And so really it wasn't that it was I think a mutually really beneficial and exciting realization to say Mass Mutual is actually thinking very far ahead when it comes to something like blockchain or Bitcoin alone. We also were really passionate about the space and excited to do something there. And again, to this day, has just continued to be a great partnership. We were about 30 employees when we joined Mass Mutual in last February. We're well over 50 today, and we'll add dozens more by the end of the year. So they've been extremely supportive of our growth and resourcing, while also allowing us to continue to be kind of independent and work with our clients as we see fit.
Oh,
I
that's
would
so.
note for anybody in your audience, when we launched Flourish Crypto, we also put out a blog post authored by Tim Corbett, the CIO of MassMutual, on outlining MassMutual's views on blockchain and crypto more broadly. You can
Mhm.
find that on our Insights blog, so flourish.com/insights. One of the, I think, very first posts on there is actually, blog post authored by Tim Corbett himself, outlining what MassMutual thinks about blockchain, and would encourage your listeners to give that a read.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that, because that was actually one of the things we've read, right? Because part of what we do is, we're trying to stay at the forefront of the industry itself. But one thing that we saw when we read that, and we saw Mass Mutual's commitment, and we saw Flourish Crypto in the offering, it helped give us confidence. But I think what it did also is it's going to help give other advisors who may be thinking, who may be more on the conservative side, who maybe wouldn't have made a leap, or actually even made the decision to start educating themselves. That's an important piece to put out. And when you get it from a name like Mass Mutual, that's so ingrained in the traditional world, it's a big deal. And so I appreciate you going into that a little bit more, because we like to help give advisors who may not have understood or known that some of these resources were out there, or some of this work that's been done over the last few years, even though you only see certain headlines. Again, there's so many things happening in the crypto world, and especially in the melding between the two. It's hard to see every headline. It's hard to see everything, right? So not everyone saw this. Not everyone knows that the work that's going on behind the scenes. So I think what you just went through just helps a lot of advisors who are listening to this maybe gain a little bit more confidence. So thank you for going into that. But let's use this as a transition now. Like, tell us about what Flourish Crypto actually does. What are the services you provide for those independent advisors?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with the goal. The goal is to help financial advisors, help RIAs bring cryptocurrency into their investing into their practice, just like any other asset class. It's as simple as that. There are tens of millions of Americans opening accounts at retail exchanges, hundreds of billions of dollars, money that could, I think kind of at a turning point. Is that going to flow into advisory businesses, or are they going to seize that opportunity and make that part of their business, or are they going to watch all that activity leave them on the sidelines and head out to the retail exchanges, head out to the startup trading platforms, the robo advisors, and really leave advisors behind? And again, our thesis is simple: help advisors bring crypto investing into their business, just like any other asset class, make it look and feel and smell just like everything else, so that they can
Mhm.
understand it, so they can talk to their clients about it, so they can have confidence in an offering. Flourish Crypto, I would describe as a turnkey cryptocurrency offering built for RIAs and their clients. What we do is we provide advisors with a simple, secure, compliant way of offering direct ownership investing to their clients. So direct ownership, much more analogous to a large retail exchange where clients can buy, sell, hold crypto directly.
Mhm.
At the same time, do that for financial advisors. So give advisors the ability to take discretion if they want and trade if they want. Give them the ability to pipe this into their performance reporting systems like Orion and Tamarack and Black Diamond, or their financial planning systems like eMoney. Give them the ability, therefore, to bill on these assets. Provide them with truly white glove client support so that they have a lot of confidence as their clients are opening accounts and going through the sign up process, that it's all just going to work seamlessly and with an amazing client experience. In short, do all the things to give them that really direct kind of custodial like experience where they can choose to just include crypto as another offering within their clients. And so that's what we're really laser focused on. It's combining the direct ownership nature that the retail exchanges have certainly made incredibly, incredibly popular with all the tools advisors need. Again, integrations, trading, discretion, compliance, billing, everything that they need to bring crypto into their practice and really normalize it, really make it something that is easy for them to offer to their clients.
Yeah, so a couple of things there, I think too. We've used this word cryptocurrency, and we haven't said actual
Sure.
position. So I think that's really important. I love that you do that, because I think a lot of people still lump in one or two things, and that's the crypto markets to them. So tell us what you mean by crypto. Can you guys do a full range of crypto assets? Can you guys do only a couple? What can you guys actually do?
Yeah, it's an important point. Today, we offer support for Bitcoin and Ethereum only. The reason for that is, again, where we're starting from is relationships with hundreds and hundreds of RIAs who are not necessarily crypto forward themselves. So
Yeah.
started with dialogue on what are their clients actually asking them about. A year ago, it was only Bitcoin, if anything. Ethereum wasn't even really on our radar. So when we launched on, I think, September 30th. It was Bitcoin only.
Mm.
And what really shifted in just a couple of months surrounding our launch is the drumbeat around Ethereum really picked up to, unbelievable heights. And so we added support for Ethereum very, very quickly. Going past those two cryptocurrencies, I think the story starts to get a little bit more complicated on two different dimensions. Number one, client demand, at least that we are hearing from financial advisors, really just isn't there. You talk to advisors, they hear Bitcoin, they hear Ethereum, and then a massive gap. You get some jokes around Dogecoin, and then a massive gap before you get to anything else. We want to build products and services that advisors are actively looking for. And again, maybe the very crypto curious firms might have a different perspective here, but starting with those two assets and making sure advisors can understand those two assets really is the way to understand crypto, and it is what their clients in turn are asking for. So that's point number one.
Mhm.
Point number two is, I think, a really important one, which is that SEC staff has given pretty clear guidance that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities. SEC staff has given no such guidance for anything else in the world of crypto. And so, again, for the types of firms we're working with, and I should note, since we launched in end of September, we've signed up dozens upon dozens of RIAs with an average firm size of about $1.5 billion in client assets. So these are large, reputable RIAs working with hundreds or thousands of clients. And so we are hearing from a very specific type of compliance officer, chief compliance officer, who really cares what the SEC has weighed in upon one way or another. And again, a lot less direction on anything past Bitcoin and Ethereum, getting you into a place where advisors that we speak to can be pretty uncomfortable that they might accidentally wind up offering an unregistered, what becomes found as an unregistered securities offering. Now, we might have our own perspectives on what is and what isn't and what will be found and what won't. But when you put those two facts together, we found it makes all the sense in the world to start with Bitcoin and Ethereum,
Mhm.
which, by the way, gets you plus or minus 60% of the total market cap of crypto,
Yep.
gets you exposure to the kind of original store of value and exposure to the more DeFi, Web 3.0 kind of world computer, everything that Ethereum can represent. You get exposure to a tremendous amount of the crypto ecosystem while still also staying safely within the guardrails of what the SEC staff has commented on to date. Over time, we absolutely hope to and plan on introducing additional cryptocurrencies and doing it in a way that REAs, A, matches their own interests, demands, their level of understanding, their level of engagement, and then B, matches the kind of the current and ever evolving regulatory landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, thank you so much for going into that, because I think what we like to do here on this podcast is to help advisors come to some sort of conclusion on where do I fit along the spectrum
Yeah.
of crypto asset adoption, right? Because you mentioned a few things, and where we are definitely further along this spectrum when it comes to crypto curious, crypto native, whatever you want to call it, where we are comfortable, and you start operating definitely in a much bigger and much grayer area when you start
Yep.
going beyond that Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we completely understand that not every advisor wants to go into that gray area. And honestly, they shouldn't, right? Because it doesn't fit within their practice. And so that's why it's so important for other solutions like yours to exist and to make it a little easier to go into those gray areas. And we like to use the pool analogy to where, we're definitely on the deeper end of the pool. So you're definitely going to be at a little more in the grayer area. But that doesn't mean you don't have a solution, right? There are solutions like Flourish Crypto that can get you exposure. And one thing that we were, and I think what I gravitated towards when I saw the crypto offer, I've seen you talk on a few other shows and podcasts, is direct exposure, right? There are all these other products that have existed that may not be the best fit, but they were being used because they were the only thing that was available, right? And that's not true anymore, right? And I hope that if you're an advisor listening, that you're understanding now, wow, okay, there is so much more than me just being able to go to my brokerage and buying, over the counter shares of GBTC or ETH or whatever the case is, right? Or the Bitwise products over the counter, right? Which, fine, those products need to exist as well. Everything needs to exist. There needs to be this optionality. So I don't want to make it seem like I don't think that there is a place for them, that there definitely is. But it just seems like
I just want to say I couldn't agree more. There are
okay,
RIAs tend to be smaller, tend to be working with younger clients, tend to be a little bit more risk forward, who write in and say, hey, I want to go down the rabbit hole. And we'll say, that's not what our product is today. Our product to the world of crypto might even seem a little boring. Just Bitcoin, just ETH, just buy, sell, hold. Like,
Yeah.
what's all the juice? I think it's recognizing the trillions of dollars represented by financial advisors and their clients are largely sitting on the sidelines.
Yep.
And huge percentages of those dollars are held by the largest firms. It is a fairly fragmented space. I
Hmm.
think I saw 45,000 individual advisors. So forget RIAs, individual advisors control 90% of the assets in the
Hmm.
entire RIA ecosystem, from wirehouses to private banks on down. So we concentrate and truly have concentrated since our start on a bread and butter firm, maybe billion and a half dollars in AUM. That doesn't mean that we don't take brand new startup firms all the way up to the largest RAs in the country. We work across the spectrum, but fundamentally we're hitting, for what in crypto often feels like straight down the fairway, Bitcoin and ETH. And again, with a heavy focus on the compliance side, which I'm happy to talk quite a lot about, but make sure that firms feel very confident when they get into this offering that this is going to work for them, their advisors, their
Mhm.
clients, and is going to keep their firm safe and secure from a compliance perspective.
Absolutely. And that's the big thing, right? Keep their firm safe and secure. And we preach that as well. A lot of times we actually turn away advisors who come to us wanting a certain solution
Mm-hmm.
that we have. And then we say, hey, actually, this probably doesn't fit within your business model at this current juncture, which is fine. And we're okay doing that. And I think we're both vibing on this idea that there is like, and what I love about this industry so far is that this almost absence of zero you know the zero sum mindset, right, that exists in traditional. And maybe it's just because we're so early and it's still so young, that there is enough room for everyone to play, and everyone's going to have their piece of pie, and everyone's going to fit within there where those, just like how in traditional finance there is many different solutions for cash management, traditional stock and bond buying,
Yep.
ETFs, mutual funds, so many different things. So I love that we can have conversations like this together. So take us through a little bit now. We've talked a little bit what you do currently, what you offer. Take us now, give us a little sneak peek. What's the future of Flourish Crypto look like?
Yeah, it's a great question, and in from a macro level, the future is going to be dependent based on the needs and demands and requirements of the advisors that we work with. And in some levels, it's as simple as that. We want to obviously be skating to where the puck is going, and not in some other direction. But we dreamed up this product, we put it out into market. We've had phenomenal, initial success. These dozens upon RAs in you know quite large reputable firms, and now a lot of this is really listening to them. What are the features, what are the services, what are the offerings, what's the education, what's the compliance materials, what is it that they need to do to
Mhm.
bring crypto to more and more of their practice. What I would answer from a macro perspective is we're still in a world where the vast majority of REAs are looking at crypto as something for a handful of their clients.
Yep.
The vast majority of REAs. They're thinking about, I'm an advisor, I work with 40 clients. I'm thinking about the two of my clients who have been telling me about Bitcoin since 2015.
Hmm.
I'm not thinking about the other 38. I'm not yet really. I'm in a very reactive mindset where client asked me about crypto because they heard about it on the golf course. They watched something on CNBC. Now they're coming to me, and I'm in a very reactive type of mode. Our kind of clear, firm belief is that is shifting and shifting fast. And
Hmm.
in some future point, you will have every large RIA in America is thinking, how do we bring this to our client base as a whole? That doesn't mean every single client. Of course, fiduciary advice is all about tailoring recommendations to the needs and circumstance of the client. But it
Yep.
does mean starting to take a look at all of your most aggressive models, all of your younger clients, maybe all of your clients who've asked you about VC investing or tech investing or single stocks or whatever it may be, and starting to really come up with a strategy of how do we move from being reactive and working with a couple of clients to really offering this across the book to broad swaths of our client base. As we move from that one-to-one world to more of a what I'll call a model portfolio type of world, the technology needs change. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, a service provider like us needs to be able to, support every account type under the sun, open accounts in mass for 1,000 clients at once, um, you know, handle things like block trading and allocations, two-way integrations, not just inter-performance reporting systems, but through OMS to actually take instructions back.
Hmm.
Again, I would emphasize we're not there for the average firm, and what we've been able to do for years now, stretching back to the start of Flourish Cash, this simple, secure, takes a couple of minutes to open online and open an account online, get the data into Orion and Tamarack and eMoney and Black Diamond. Again, that's great for the vast majority of RIAs, especially larger RIAs out there. But to get into a model portfolio world, to get into a mass allocation world, the conversation really starts to change, and that's increasingly where we see our future and where the problem that we're gearing up to really solve. I think
Wonderful.
there's a conceptual leap there that a lot of firms need to take that I always emphasize. Again, comes from kind of a shift in mindset of reactive to proactive or defense to offense, if you will, whatever that analogy. Too many RAs, I think, are still hoping this just passes them by.
It just goes away,
Like,
right? Yep.
let's just make those two clients happy and let's move on with our lives. And it's so clear to us that is a very risky strategy. I think we are not a crypto startup. We are an advisor technology and advisor access startup. Now we have a lot of people who are very passionate about crypto internally, but we're coming at this as a slightly different perspective where I'm not here to say crypto definitively will change the world or won't change the world or definitively, will perform or won't perform. That's not how we see ourselves in this market. But what I do know is that there's a chance, there's a possibility that these assets, the crypto changes the world. There's a chance that this performance continues. There's a chance, and if you're an advisor, you're in the business of making decisions despite uncertainty. And I think as that advisor, you need to really start to grapple with the fact that crypto is here. That again, Coinbase has 73 million accounts, 73 million accounts out there. And if you are not proactively thinking, how do I bring that again to that next 38 clients, the 95% of clients that haven't really asked me about it or aren't really crypto early adopters, you are just asking for those clients to set up accounts at Coinbase.
Yep.
You are asking for those clients, your younger accumulators, your 30, 40-year-old doctors, lawyers, technology professionals, your next generation clients, the ones who are standing to inherit wealth. You are asking them to look away from you for their wealth management services. That won't happen today. That won't happen tomorrow. But over 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you are saying we are taking a bet against. It's almost an explicit bet against the entire, tailwinds of this industry. And so our challenge to advisors, our ask to advisors, is start taking this more seriously. It's not just for the two clients who've been asking about crypto for a few years. It's really what is your crypto strategy to bring this to your clients? That might be for a very small allocation, for a very small number of clients, but to think about it a little bit more proactively and in turn, again, through those technology systems, through those operational systems, through education, through training, positioning ourselves to help RAAs, take the leap, cross the chasm with us.
It's nice to hear another person, not necessarily preach, but, shout from the rooftops a little bit that this is much more than just, setting an allocation, right? There's those shifts that you were just mentioning. And I remember we've been talking about this generational shift of wealth for the last 10 years, right? In financial advisory practices. This isn't something new. Advisors have been strategizing on how they're going to position themselves for the future wealth transfer that is coming. And we stress this so much at Arbor Digital, saying you want the easiest way to start connecting with the next generation of inheritors. This is it. It's staring at you right in the face, actually, right? And it's so easy because it's becoming so prevalent in just general headlines. People are talking about them at family dinners or at networking events. The next generation of workers and entrepreneurs and coders and developers are flocking to blockchain, right? Your next base of clients is maybe going to earn their income off of staking and earning, crypto rewards based off their artwork. You're actually going to have access to a broader range of clients with more adoption in crypto. So the opportunity just isn't to allocate, and you don't even need to allocate, right? Just forming a stance right now actually puts you in a position of success with deepening the relationships with your clients, right? And that's what it's all about. For us, if you don't allocate, all good. But if you miss this opportunity to at least educate yourself, make a stance, if you just ignore it, like what you just said, you're just asking for those clients just to go to Coinbase, go to someone else, and go to those crypto advisors who are willing to take that leap and willing to get educated. Those clients are going to move. And we know, and that shift is happening. So it's nice to hear that, you're on the front lines. You talk to a lot of other RIAs on top of what we do and probably what a lot of other offers are doing. So it's good to see that from all angles, it's almost the same message. There's a theme spreading, right? Um, so I just think, right?
Absolutely. I think, and again, maybe we're not that where we differ, but where we just sit somewhere a little different on the edge of the spectrum. We're not yet at the point saying, think about gaming and NFTs and how your clients are going to be earning money and all these other, I think that's absolutely a possibility. We think that's a possibility, but for us, that is almost not a, I don't want to say a bridge too far for our advisors, but recognize most RIAs are not there. And
Mhm.
RIA intentional, every RIA is composed with a number of financial advisors. You might have one or two there. You might have a ton that aren't. And so just, again, like you're saying, just start the conversation. Just say, what is, again, 1 or 2%? What does that get us?
Yep.
Every time a client is saying, I am opening an account at Coinbase, at Robinhood, whatever it may be, I am going away, that should ring alarm bells in the advisor's mind. And too often I think with crypto, it's been dismissed. It's been,
Mhm.
oh, again, we'll wait until this fad passes. It's a multi-trillion-dollar asset class. There is a good chance that fad is not going to pass. And
Yeah.
so again, starting to embrace that. The final point here, I think we also think that maybe for the average RIA that the pace of change is going to be a little bit slower than maybe what the far outside of the crypto community sees. And that's okay. I think it's very, people have different opinions on when electric car, or self-driving cars are going to get here. They can have very different opinions on crypto.
Yep.
I don't know if it's really coming tomorrow or coming next year in a way that will hit the average RIA, but the trend is pretty unmistakable. The average RIA organic growth teeters around zero. It really teeters around low single digit percentage organic growth. They're growing by markets and they're growing by M&A. And so every large RIA is out there thinking, what is our strategy to say a couple points on the side of growth as opposed to a couple points on the side of zero? That completely changes the trajectory of your business.
Hmm.
And again, picking up on exactly what you're saying, having that strategy, having that offering, connecting to that next gen client, not even next gen maybe at this point, that 40-year-old doctor who, all his friends, work in tech and he's talking about it in crypto. Like, what is your strategy there? Because if you are not thinking about how to keep all of those clients' assets within your book, be able to give advice on the thing that he's thinking about, he's going towards, again, you're asking for your organic growth to tip just on the side of decline. And that maybe isn't a problem for you tomorrow, maybe isn't a problem for you in 3 years. Zoom out 5, 10, 20 years. It is we would view almost an existential crisis for the vast majority of RAs out there. So again, we can differ on when we think the change is coming, when we think people will be earning their income in Bitcoin and immediately putting it into NFTs. And I think that's all extremely healthy debate for RAs listening, or for, RAs who think that way, but then turn around and for advisors who think that way and turn around and talk to all the other advisors at their firm and they're just not there. Let's come back to basics.
Hmm.
It's a small allocation, a way to show our clients that we're thinking further ahead, a way to serve this next generation wealth, a way to serve these kind of growing accumulators who we all agree are the future of our business. And yet sometimes we just gear our services towards the most affluent, the most established, the clients. Let's bridge that gap together by getting proactive about a strategy, by becoming conversant, by designating your expert internally, by having a solution to the right clients, not just the ones who have been asking you about crypto for a few years, but taking one step further and thinking about who is next on that spectrum. Because if we're not winning those clients and keeping those assets on our book, we could be in a lot of trouble. Again, maybe it's over 10 years, maybe it's 20, maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. But again, the advisory community writ large, it is all about taking those small amounts of, risk and uncertainty and probabilities and plotting a course despite that.
Love it. It's a message that I think is going to resonate with everyone listening to this episode right now. So I think that's a great segue. Ben, this has been such a wonderful conversation to have. I hope those lizard brains of everyone listening are tingling right now with opportunity to go and get off zero with just the education, and then as you go down the spectrum, then you can start thinking about allocating. And I hope you consider all of the options available, not just GBTC, not just what traditionally has been available for the last couple of years or the last 5 years, but with options like Flourish, with options like ours. And honestly, there are others out there too. Go do the due diligence, and you're going to find that there's a plethora of ways to incorporate into your practices, whether you want to go deep or if you just want to dip your toes into the water. And for us, let's get off zero, and we're all doing it together. And I love that we can have collaborative episodes like this. So Ben, give us a little bit to end off. tell everybody where they can find you, how they can get in contact with Flourish to learn more about what you can do for them.
Sure. Our website is pretty simple, flourish.com, Flourish.com. We've got sections of the website for advisors, for clients, and then we've got an entire, what we call our insights blog. So if you're not quite ready to personally get your firm off zero yet, I think, hopefully one more good educational resource to start. We've got, a white paper authored by a top 50 law firm about crypto compliance, which I think is a really important one for a lot of the firms that we talk about. White papers on Bitcoin investment considerations, articles on top 10 cryptos, information about Flourish Crypto, you name it. You'll also find plenty of ways to get in touch with us. We love hearing from folks, love talking to folks who are thinking about pushing the industry forward. My name is Ben Cruikshank. Email is just ben.cruikshank@flourish.com. Please feel free to shoot me a note, and love to keep the conversation going.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking the time and energy to come with us today. Ben, again, really the work you're doing is so important with over there with the team over at Flourish. We'll be rooting for your success. For those listening, reach out and don't be afraid to get off zero. The water is warm, and we will see you on the next episode of Asset Revolution. Bye, everybody.
We appreciate you listening to this edition of the Asset Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Marc Nichols. Please don't forget to let us know how you like the show by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen. For more downloadable digital asset resources and educational opportunities, please visit us at arbordigital.io. We are here to help you get off zero safely and securely. Thanks again for tuning in, and be sure to tell someone you care about them. Cheers.
We are financial advisors. However, we are not your financial advisor, unless you're under contract with or actively speaking with Arbor Capital Management or Arbor Digital, a division of Arbor Capital Management. This podcast is just that, a podcast. It is not financial, legal, or tax advice. If you have individual questions, please reach out.